mindfulness meditation.
Right. Sumana, Sumana, Pariyano Sudananda.
Am I?
Right. Something. Today, Nangana more Santos when. Hello, I know that. Right. Sadawat Pinatini, Adasi, Asala Pun Poho Dini, the other teddy in Dam days now to opposition, Tangapi, Samajik, Commit Samajik, Mahadik Pana, Kolinja Sing Mahatmya, Sing Aradhana Karantin, Nepal is Manahamdru, Mahaseki, Viharastani, Mahase Kaling City, Kingsbury, Baudd Madhyasthani, Viharastani, then Mahase is in Tangi, Viharastani, Istani, London, Jatyantra, Baudd Vipassana Madhyasthani, London Vipassana Bhavana Madhyasthani, it's මේ අමතේ අඳින දාශනාවෙන් දැලුකෝ නේපාලයේ සිමනහම කිව්වම පුංචි කාලේ ඉඳලම ලංකාවේ ලංකාව මහසීගේ අධ්‍යාපනය ලබාගෙන ගැටඹේ විහාරස්ථානයේ සෑහෙන කාලයක් උන්වහන්සේ අධ්‍යාපනය කළා සම්මත විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ කෙනෙක් ඊට පස්සේ උන්වහන්සේගේ ගුරු රාජීශලෝ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා අපේ තාහුනේ ගන්නවා ළඟින් ආශ්‍රය කරපු හාමුදුරුවෝ වහන්සේලා අපි තාමත් සුණාවරට කියන්නේ පොඩි හාමුදුරුවෝ කියලා නිසා උන්වහන්සේ අද අපේ ආරාධනාවගෙන මේ සල්පුන් පොහොය දිනේ ධර්ම දේශනාව සිදු කිරීමට සූදානම් වෙන අපි අපේ ප්‍රශංසාවේ එක්ස්ටර්නල්තාවේ පළ කරනවා ආශිර්වාදේ පළ කරනවා උන්වහන්සේ මේ අධ්‍යාපනයට සම්බන්ධ ස්කෝල විද්‍යාලවල ආචාර්යවරයෙක් හැටියට උන්වහන්සේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරනවා ශාස්ත්‍රාචාර්ය උපාධියකින් ලැබි නේපාලයේ සුමනහාමුදුරුවෝ ඉතාමත්ම නිහතමානී පොඩි ළමයෙක් කාතමාන ගතිගුණ යුක්ත සිල්ම අවස්ථාවල සිනහම සමෝනිය දැන් තිනා වෙලයි අතනේ වගේ පුංචි ළමයින්ගේ ට්‍රේනින් කිරීමට ඉතාමත්ම ගැළපෙන හාමුදුරුවෝ ඩිසිප්ලින් and full discipline. ਬਹੁਤ ਸੰਤੋෂයි පරිහාරු වාසයේ ධර්ම දේශනා සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපේ විශාල දායක පිටසක් සෝදානම් සිටින කාර්මික මතක් කරනවා දැන් ආරාධනා කරනවා ධර්ම දේශනාව ආරම්භ කරන ලෙස संतोष है
समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्रा गच्छन्तु देवता सद्धम्मं मुनिराजस्य सुनन्तु सग्गमुखदं धम्मश्रवणकालो अयं भदन्ता धम्मश्रवणकालो अयं भदन्ता धम्मश्रवणकालो अयं भदन्ता नमो तस्से भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्से नमो तस्से भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्से नमो तस्से भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्से आरोग्या परमालाभा सन्तुष्टि परमं धनं विश्वासा परमाज्ञाति निब्बानं परमं सुखन्ति Most Venerable Dadiyawala Vimala Nayaka Thero, dear friends in the Dhamma, Venerable Kusala is also present, I believe, but cannot be seen. So thank you for inviting me. Today, the sponsors of the sermon, Mr. Colvin and Mrs. Sumedha Joysinger, invited me upon permission of Most Venerable Vimalanayaka Thera to deliver a sermon on this Dhamma Day. So thank you for inviting me, and we are gathered here via Zoom, and it has been a great privilege that the new technology has allowed us to remotely conduct sessions, and it has been a great opportunity for all of us to engage in the Dhamma. So we are observing SIL or 8 precepts on the occasion of the Asala full moon Poy Day. Asala full moon Poy Day, as you all know, is or can also be known as Dhamma Day. So Vesak full moon Poy Day can be considered as Buddha Day. The full moon day when the Dhamma was made available to the world was Asala full moon day, so the Dhamma Day. And Sangha Day can be when the Mahasangha or the Triple Gem appeared, or even as the Kathina Day when you celebrate the culmination of the rains retreat, which begins today. So I quoted or cited a stanza from the Dhammapada, and as you all know, the Dhammapada is a very good handbook for all of us, and we can make the most out of it by even reading stanza by stanza every day to internalize the Dhamma the Buddha wanted us to understand. So it's a collection of the sayings of the Buddha, not necessarily in a sequence, but has very good advice, and we can make the most out of it if we try to understand deeply. It's not necessarily conceptually deep when we take the outlook, but when we delve into it, we see there's a lot we have to understand, and gradually it helps us to understand the Dhamma deeper and deeper and deeper. And that is what the rains retreat is for as well, for the congregation or for the devotees, upasaka, upasikas, to engage in the Dhamma, commit yourself perhaps daily if possible, or even weekly, to delve into the Dhamma, to try to understand the Dhamma in a deeper sense. And therefore, it is a great opportunity that the Letchworth Buddhist Community Center is organizing such programs to support the congregation to enhance their spiritual practice. So the meaning of the Gatha is Arogya Paramalabha. Health or good health is the highest gain. Santuti Paramang Dhanam, being contented with what you have, or contentedness is the highest wealth. Vissasa Paramanyati, the most trustworthy, or the one that you trust, is the greatest relative. Nibbanam Paramang Sukhang, attaining Nibbana or attaining peace is the highest happiness, Paramasukha, Paramang Sukhang. So we can take this further into the next level. Arogya Parama Labha, so physical and mental health is the highest gain. Contentedness in terms of not pursuing your wants and desires is the highest wealth. So understanding, acknowledging that there are things for your needs, and that itself can bring about a good living. That is the highest wealth, not the amount of assets, not the amount of figures or digits that you have in your bank account. The most important is how you are able to manage and maintain that. Vissasa paramanyati, not even blood relationships. It is someone that you can really develop confidence. And that's why we have the concept of Kalyana Mittas in the Dhamma. The Kalyana Mitta, someone you can trust, someone who can help you without anything in expectation at times of need, is the greatest relative. And achieving Nibbana, being able to free yourself or being able to have the peace of mind that we all look forward to, is the highest happiness. So I might not be able to complete the analytical discussion of all of this, these 4 lines, but given the time, we will see how far we can go. So when it comes into understanding our health, we are very good at it, perhaps, especially when we age. We are quite conscious about our health, especially perhaps even physical health. Now, it's quite important to link this to the first sermon which the Buddha delivered as of Asala Full Moon Day. And I will be referring to the Dukkha Satya and Samudaya Satya a little bit to try to understand in the deeper context how we can make that perhaps related to what we're discussing. So, as we all know, we are of 2 phenomena, body and mind. And the moment we actually talk of health, we always talk of your physical health, because that is something that you quite experience from the physical dukkhas or physical suffering. If you did not have that physical suffering, perhaps we will not be engaging in our good health systems. The moment we know that we will be ill or we have the potential to be ill, so jara dukkha, vyadhi dukkha, and perhaps even the shadowing of the marana dukkha, or the suffering from being or growing or aging, the suffering from being ill, and perhaps even the fear of death might condition us and maybe sometimes force us to look after our health. So when you nowadays, obviously, most of us are into what they might call us diet. When you eat something, as soon as you eat, you will start looking in the wrap, or what is the nutrition context there? How much sugar, how much fat, and how much salt. So we're quite conscious of this physical health. It's in a way very good. It's positive because we are very conscious, and the labels have allowed us to do that. So what goes into your mouth is quite interesting, and you are quite conscious about it. So, because if you have health, you feel happy, you feel satisfied. If you have good health, if there's no pain in your body, I think there's nothing more in terms of happiness than that. And during this pandemic, if you stayed safe, I think there would be so much happiness in your mindsets. And if someone you loved got affected by the pandemic, we do develop our concerns and metta to be for them. Yet we are conscious about our personal health as well. And we do actually take care of ourselves. So those who perhaps do not take care selfishly might not even wear masks, or maybe work towards the precautions or taking precautions to look after yourself. So those who may have been affected by illnesses are sometimes very consciously working towards their eating habits. Now, if we go deeper into this, you are what you eat, as they say. And when I look into the parittas, the spirit pota, in the spirit pota, once you actually, if you are quite good in Pali and Sinhala, it's good to actually have a look. We have on the 5th section, after the Dasasil, after Samnera questions and the contemplation on the 32 impurities of body, number 5 is about Pachavekana. It is about reflection. It is about being conscious about the 4 requisites that the monks needs to be mindful of. The first one is about the robes that we wear, clothing. The second one is about Pindapat, the food that you eat. The third one is about where you lie or where you reside, retreat, Senasana. And the fourth one is about medicine or good. So that is what we call Chatupache, Sivpasa. Now the second one tells monks how to eat. Now the Buddha was very aware of this, and at the very beginning, even when you become a monk, this is when I was training as a novice, these are the 4 things that you have to learn by heart, because when you are donning your robes, you mindfully wear your clothing. So why are you wearing your clothes? And that is what it is all about. Why am I wearing this robe? And it tells me or reminds me very differently how I function when I have the robes on my body. And ever since I became a monk at the age of 11, that was about 35, 36 years ago, I have been consciously reminding myself every moment I put my robe like this, or I cover myself wrapped. And this is the conscious or the mindful wearing of clothing. Now, look at what the Buddha has done in the second one. What goes through your mouth? The eating is the second one. I'm not eating to develop muscles, if I put it in general loose terms. I'm not eating to actually have, look beautiful. And you go on, I'm eating just to maintain my body. Now, vibhusanaya yava deva imasaka is a titiya. It's just to actually, as much as it. So the moment you actually think you want the next spoon of rice, you have to be mindful. Am I eating because of the greed, or am I eating because it is to sustain my body? And then vihingsu parate brahmacharyanuga, to help me live or maintain my precepts or my pratimoksha sila. Okay, not even to actually energize myself unnecessarily, not to have this beautiful body so that I look attractive and fill up the holes and the gaps in my body, but actually also to make sure that no new illnesses arise and to get rid of the old illnesses. And if you are conscious that something is wrong for your old existing illness, so Puranancha Vedanang Patihankami, Purana Vedana. So the old illnesses, old dukkha. So if you have any pressure, if you have any, a system of a default, something working on your body, Now, this is what you can see how it is quite held there. So, Puranam Vedanam Padyankam. So, not to let the old illnesses arise, but to obviously seize it. So, you have to be mindful to control. Navancha Vedanam Navapadesami. Not to let new illnesses arise. If you start binging on something, whatever age is, if you start eating too much of something, you are going to gain something which is perhaps a new illness. And when your body is ill, perhaps you can't do certain things that you want to. So we are not actually talking about genetically coming diseases, but we are talking about something that can be accumulated due to our eating problems or eating habits. And how can we develop this courage? Is to simply understand and be mindful. I'm not against this dieting system, which might be helpful, but there are people who have gone on diets, and there's one lady, particularly, I forgot her name, but she had problems with eating, and then in the end, she did a PhD in eating habits or eating disorders. And her conclusion was nothing more than mindful eating. It's quite interesting how we end up in this Buddhist context, right at the start of where even the practice or the, of our Dhamma. If you are to practice the Dhamma, you are to read this Paccavekkhana, this, because this is where it starts. If you are not able to maintain your physical health, we're always moaning and complaining, we're always thinking about negatively. So we are talking about this. So when we look at the bar consciously or this nutrition label, I think it's good. It helps us to maintain our health. So as I said, we are not just talking of the physical phenomena. We are talking of the now. We are talking of our mind now. When you talk of the mind, obviously, then now we are going into the other section of the type of suffering that we can think of. I'm linking it to first sermon, very simple. Piyehi vipayoga dukkho, apiyehi sampayoga dukkho, yam pichang nalabhati tampi dukkhang. What you expect, you don't have, you don't get, or it doesn't happen, that is dukkha. Sankittena panchapadana khanda dukkha. In essence, the holding or the grasping of this conditioned states of mind is dukkha. We'll very briefly touch this again later on. So, to be mindful of now what enters your mind. Now we're talking of what enters your body. Now let's talk of what enters your mind. Now your body is physical, your mind is not physical. Where do we stand now? What are we talking about this mind? No matter what, if you just type in Google like mental health, 1 in 4 adults in this country might be suffering from at least one type of mental health. Okay, 1 in 4. And just before I actually did this sermon, I just typed into BBC to see something. And even as far as 12 to 13-year-olds, 10 children are causing self-harm. And they are being admitted to hospital. Now, 10 a day. And mental health-wise, now especially, obviously we have to be very sympathetic and empathetic to those who might be clinically suffering, and yes, the NHS is spending about billions, about 2 digits, nearly over 70 billion pounds a year on supplying medication for those who are clinically ill. So very good that we have a system that actually looks after those who are clinically. But I think we can come to understanding in a different way. So that extreme end obviously needs support, but early stage, whatever it is, I think, which doesn't need to go as far as clinical state, might be something that we can do from what we call mindfulness. And this is what the Buddha taught in Samma Sati, the mindfulness that we develop. Although if you look into any website, any mental health website, there is surely a link leading to mindfulness. Every website will say mindfulness is the only way to stop you from having stress or having illnesses that or some sort of anxiety, worry. And we talk about this in Buddhism as well. We talk about this in Buddhism, and we need to be quite aware of this. So the Buddha helps us to understand from the very beginning. And I don't know how much of us may have been quite conscious about this, aware about this. And this is what the Buddha said, Yampi chang nalabati tampi dukkhang. Things don't happen the way you want, and we start choosing to suffer. I'm going to use the word choosing here to tell you why. I'll explain that later on. I don't know whether your microphones are on, but when we talk of emotions, now the big word is emotional or emotion, or perhaps even like emotion management we call nowadays. This isn't a word that's come about to help us to manage our emotions. Resilience is something that's quite, so emotionally we actually learn how to be resilient, and Buddhism has answers for all of these. And the Dhamma helps us to understand that quite clearly. So emotion is something which actually comes into or the thoughts that arise in our mind, and it is that actually conditions us. Now, obviously there are negative and positive emotions. Can you name me some negative emotions? I don't know whether your microphones are on. Are you able to give me a few examples of negative emotions? Okay, looks like your mics are not on.
Anger.
Anger, very good. One.
Greed.
Anxiety,
Greed, anxiety,
worry,
worry,
Sorrow. Pain.
sorrow, pain,
Jealousy.
jealousy, very good.
Doubt.
Doubt. What was the other one?
hatred,
Hatred, very good.
And pride.
Pride,
fear, fear,
fear, frustration,
Frustration.
anxiety. Most of us, or lots of young people will say boring.
Yes.
What else? Okay. Now it is less than a minute, I think. We came up with 15. Less than a minute, we come up with 15. Now positive. Give me some examples.
happy,
Contentment.
Huh? Happiness.
Contentment.
Contentment. Okay, 2. Very good.
Giving dana.
Yeah.
satisfaction,
Generosity, satisfied. Oh, we can
Being satisfied.
we
Yes.
can do someone harm and also be satisfied. So we'll get to that. So 3, so generosity,
Yeah.
Peace.
peace. 4, yeah.
Humble.
Humble,
Be happy.
we said happy earlier, yeah.
That's all right.
Oh dear, come on. Looks like you're so miserable. You only can think of 5 things.
Kindness.
Kindness, 6.
Kindness, yes.
Healthiness.
We said happiness already.
Health, being
Health.
healthy.
Oh, that's not an emotion, but yeah, I know what you mean, but that's not an emotion. Okay, 1 minute gone. So you only could come 6 against 15 or 16. Oh.
More negatives.
No, it doesn't sound right, isn't it? Why? We are Buddhists. We are all happy people. We're trying to practice the Dhamma, and yet we cannot come up with more than 5 good emotions. Compassion, gratitude.
Passion, gratitude.
You can come up with so many things. What could be the problem here? Even
Yeah,
with
really.
Dhamma every day, we observe, we worship the Buddha every day. We do so many things that we are not coming up with more than 5 or 6 good emotions. In 1 minute, it's just a small test we did.
You think more about being the things that
Go
are wrong with
wrong.
you rather than
Exactly.
you
There
think-
you go. You pin the nail there. You know,
Yeah.
you hit the nail. We think more about the negatives. And the retention in our minds, we are registering more negative things rather than the positive things.
Positive.
Like that's why, like when we say, like in Buddhist tradition, we have chanting period and this, and it's just continue to not like be a parrot, but actually it helps us to internalize the qualities once you know the meaning. You know, when you do metta bhavana, when you do karuna bhavana or mudita bhavana, upekta bhavana, it actually registers the positiveness within you. But if you are spending more time, like say I said, boring or angry or thinking about someone else or being jealous, we are registering negativity in our mindsets, which is going to affect our mental health. Are we dressing up for someone else? That's why I said the first thing with the robes. Are you dressing for someone else or are you dressing for yourself? How many of you would think, oh, what will other people think when I wear these clothes?
we used to think, now that we are old.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you sure you won't say make a galapen nae kela? Even that small thing, galpen or a handbag galpen. We are still critical. We are always living with this patigasanya about this complaining, mourning attitude, and every moment is spent negatively. Okay, in 1 minute, how many times do you get dissatisfied? I'll use the word dissatisfied. In 1 minute, how many times in a day would you get dissatisfied?
Many times regarding your food.
That's a cheeky answer. Many times. I think all the time. The Buddha would say all the time. Yeah, you go to the mirror, something wrong. You try to put soap twice in your face. You're always showing signs of this. The Vedana is not good. You want to have a bit of this. When you sleep, you also and when you even every time you say "ayo" or this and that, there is some sort of signs of dissatisfaction, dis-ease. We are sort of unhappy with what's happening. And if I just say on average in the upper level, maybe 5 times a minute, that means in an hour, 300 times. In 10 hours that you stay awake, 3,000 times. We are good commentators. There ekko luno nakyai, ekko arkamadi kyai, ekko rasne vedi kyai, ekko seetal kyai, ekko There's something that we actually engage with a critical thinking in a negative way. And it is such things like that, because imagine if someone was actually holding and living with this, with a small problem that actually moves on to the next. The germination of that thought, or I would say contamination of the mind, is leading to next minute, next hour, next, I don't know, day. And we are causing this ourselves, no one else. We are causing this ourselves, these issues. We are the ones who cannot put the idea away. Where is Nekkhamma Sankappa? I believe Kusala Handru gave Dhamma sermon on Arya Ashtanga Marga last poe. So Nekkhamma Sankappa means to renounce. Renounce these thoughts. That is Samma Sankappa. Learn how to get rid of the negative thinking. But we are so, I don't know, we want to always think about that negative thing that happened in our life. Whether it is a big one, whether it is a minor one. Look at Devadatta Hamdru. He couldn't let go of one small profit during the time of Serivanija Jataka. And with that hatred, he wanted to kill the Buddha throughout. And even in his last life, Buddha's last life, he came to kill the Buddha. So why do we actually remind ourselves of something negative all the time? Now, when you go to a friend's house, you go with a certain expectation. You know the person, and you know how they behave, how they think, and we might change ourselves to approach that person. Or you even speak to a person, but then we also do the same thing with someone who has done something wrong to you. Every time we will say, no, kana pennanna ba. And then you change yourself completely. So when we discard something, when we learn how to let it go completely. Don't bring it back again to your new life, new experience. Now is a very different moment. Now is a very different moment. If you are to speak to a person with a memory in your mind, then we are actually engaging with a thought, or you can say upadana khanda. A thought that was there some time ago that was arising, but you clinged or you clung to it. You are not letting it go of that thought. Sankhara, that's why we call sankhara dukkha. This is caused by yourself. You choose to suffer. You are going to the bin, taking the same old tea bag you threw 5 days ago, and trying to make another cup of tea at this very present moment. We remind ourselves something that happened. We cannot free ourselves from a particular experience. And we are using that as a filtering process to engage with something that is currently happening, which might completely be a different experience. These are distortions, vipallas. So these are the way it creates a distorted mindset for us to actually, not experience what is here right now to be happily living. Then, for example, if you are eating some food, you are now going to eat whatever the food is there in front of you. When you see, maybe give me a curry dish. Name one. What have you cooked for your dana? Come on.
Dal.
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 Yeah.
Okay, now you have dal there. Imagine you like magul paripu. And then now you are going to eat the ayumi. See? So you might think of dal. Now there is a particular taste that you have actually liked in dal. Now when you eat this dal today, paripu, are you eating this paripu, or are you trying to find that paripu in this paripu? Got it, what I mean now?
Yes.
You order a pizza, you are not ordering a physical pizza, you're ordering a taste that is in your mind. And then when you eat that pizza, you are trying to find that taste in this pizza, which you really got hooked into. Right? You got hooked into it. Upadana kanda, can you see? Panchapadana, that's where this is now. Now if you actually find, even if you look at a flower, you are hooked into the flower of a beautiful flower, and there's no more flower beautiful than that. And now every flower you see, you're going to compare that to that flower. And then you develop a rejecting attitude or an agreeing attitude. So you either agree or disagree. Atapi sampajana satima vinaya abhicca domanas. You are developing that sort of attitude every moment. You might think of the rose flower that you got when someone gave it to you, maybe when you got together, or a Valentine, or your garden rose flower, or the color preference. So we are not experiencing this current one at this very moment as it is, but we are trying to cross-reference to a point which we have in our deeply rooted thoughts. And that is what we are looking for, not this flower. That taste is what you're looking for. That sensation is what you're looking for. And no matter what it is, there are only 6 things: chakku, sota, ghana, jiva, kaya, mana. Eye, ear, nose, mouth, body, and your mind. There could be 5 or 6 things that we have a level of experience, and we are always trying to meet that. No matter what we do, it has to meet that condition. And for those who know the Bana, we call that Sankappa Raga. We will look for that. And every moment, our actions, our words, our thoughts are driven, and we are motivated by these, whether it is desires, whether it is the hate, whether it is the ignorance, or whether it is the fear. We are being manipulated by this, and therefore this current moment is not being experienced in what we call as it is, and we always perhaps end up in a dissatisfied state of existence or mindset. And when that dissatisfaction is there, it controls us. As I said, we are being germinated, we are contaminated by this experience. No matter how good it is, we see a fault in it. No matter how good it is, we don't see anything good in it. So in a way, these are normal things that are happening. If you don't develop nekkhamma sankappa, or if you don't develop this renouncing skills, or if you don't develop this chaga, that is what the cause of suffering is. Now, this is what the Buddha is telling us in his first sermon, isn't it? Chago, patinissago, mutti, anala, with the synonyms of nibbana. Tyaga, to free, tyaga karan. Tyaga means tyaga or release. Mutti, mukta venwa or midima. Analayo, you're not like a magnet to it. And patinissago, to renounce. And you can see, what are we doing this? We are talking about this tatra tatravi nandini. Is this tanha, trishna, or the thirst, that we keep on looking for it, to keep on doubling or entertaining this desire, that factor has to be freed. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. The sensory desires. And this is where it is quite minutely put, very nicely put by bhava tanha. You want that taste to exist, continue to exist. You want that good experience to continue to exist. You want something that you like to continue to exist. Vibhava tanha, any dissatisfied moment is also focused in a way, looking for an alternative to not to exist. And what is this thirst? This thirst, Trishna. This is like like when you're really thirsty, no matter how much water you drink, it doesn't quench. And this Trishna is like that. It is never quenched, never enough. More. Chapas kala bon kar sath denu taw. On balle watru bon kar hand ko. Evage thirst, what that desire is never quenched, and every moment we are looking for that. We want to please our eyes, we want to please our ears, we want to please our nose, we want to please our tongue, we want to please our body, and we also want to please our mind. And we are developing this, the factors that actually always trying to meet those needs. And the bar always rises. Every time the cross-referencing bar goes higher, higher. If there's a better taste, now that is what you want. If there's a better experience, that is what you want next time. It's never satisfied. And that's why the Buddha said, Sachitta Paryodapana. No one can help you on this. Because you are the one that is choosing to suffer by not having that. So it's a choice made. I have a small neck pain here at the moment. I've been for a couple of weeks. If I actually, obviously I know it's there, but if I make it a problem, am I not choosing to suffer? Okay. Similarly, if I'm eating something and I'm not enjoying, I'm actually choosing to suffer by not enjoying. So there is food in front of me. It is edible. It is good to eat. Now we're talking about these habits of eating now. But if I am eating, it's not the food that I'm actually disagreeing with. I'm disagreeing with that taste that doesn't match. And therefore, I'm actually making it a problem, although I'm eating. And like that, okay, as I said earlier, if you have signs of dissatisfaction, show signs of dissatisfaction 5 times a minute. No, we said 5 times. Yeah, 5 times a minute is 300 times an hour. We are mourning, we're complaining, we are showing these signs of dissatisfaction. And this poor mind gets, obviously, we are registering those things. We're registering those things, internalizing. The retention rate is on negative things, negative. And therefore, we need to learn how to practice mudita. Mudita is very important practice. Very rarely do we focus on mudita. Mudita is something, that's why it helps us to acknowledge our points of success, acknowledge our points of happiness, acknowledge, even if it is about happiness in terms of Gihivinaya, Akti Sukha. Now, when we learn how to appreciate what is there, then we learn how to appreciate what others have. So we don't develop those negative thinking unnecessarily, such as jealousy, envy, hatred, ill will. If you see someone else's pair of shoes or bag and say, I wish I had that, then we are not developing mudita. No, if you are actually not appreciating even your own good health or your own moments of happiness, because there's everything for us. There's everything for us. But if you're not appreciating that, then we will always think it's not enough. So cutting short, santuti paramang dhanam. We learn how to appreciate everything so that we can actually be happy. We are very good in karuna. Buddhists are very good in karuna. But I believe we can equally have that balance, that practice of mudita, to actually acknowledge and appreciate what you have, who you are, especially who you are as a person. Because we have to do it for ourselves. Others won't appreciate you anyway. Similarly, if we appreciate other people, who they are, and that is all out of kindness, then you not just, because when we talk of this negative thing, we are always seeing a weakness. We're always in the negative for that reason. We're always seeing the weakness. But when we learn how to accept who they are, truly, perhaps your children, your husband or wife or partner, your neighbor, even your equipments like your vehicle or phones or whatever we have, if we acknowledge its true presence, we don't have a problem. We are not ready to accept its true presence. And this is a problem, causing us developing this not enough attitude in this world. Yes, we need to have progress points. We need to think of targets. We need to think of management and develop and progress. I agree with that. But that is possible when you start seeing the strengths in them. So instead of spending 80-90% of energy in trying to focus on the negative, maybe first focus on the positiveness, so that there is, even in ourselves, energizing attitude. If you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have to go to work, I can't see this person, I have to pass this person's house, then your whole day will be ruined, contaminated. And if you sleep thinking, oh, I have so many things to do tomorrow, you are sleeping with a stressed mindset. You are even waking up with a stressed mindset. But if you actually leave that to the bottom of your list and think of all the positive things, oh, when I go to work, I can do this, so I can see this person, and always see the bright side, then we are not registering the negativeness, but we are actually registering positiveness. And we are with mudita, we can see the true presence. We can see the nature as it is. We can see the flower as its beauty, rather than your prescribed beauty in the flower. Let the beauty speak for itself, not your beauty. Your beauty can never be explained, because it's always rising, the bar is rising. So in everything that you have, in everything that is there, even in the aging process, even in the the nature of everything that is there, infrastructure to people. The moment we learn how to accept who they are, it's about developing this mudita. No, be happy for that. Be happy for the person. Yesterday I was referring to, in a sermon, I was referring to like in generosity. Some people give, but then they give and then they start questioning, what is this person going to do with this £5? Now, the question is not this person who is receiving, the homeless person who is receiving the £5. The question is your level of generosity. If you start questioning, what is this person going to do with this £5 I give when you see a homeless person, for example, or if you even say, "Ane power killer, do not," that is also your level of generosity. There's a problem in there. Ane power means you are being egoistic. In a sense, in a different way, like you think you can give and you are doing sometimes. I think those expressions are not good, but always feel for the person that is receiving. Let the person do whatever he wants and give. That is your generous level. If you start questioning, because you saw a person spending the money for some other wrong things, whatever it is, it could be. Now that is what is coming to your head to stop you giving this £5 to this person. So again, see, in any life experience, we actually have certain memories that actually affect us in a different way and actually condition our ways of acting and interacting. So if a person becomes happy with your service, be happy for them. If a person engages something, maybe like watches a TV program and you don't like that, it's okay, be happy for the person. If a person eats the last piece of cake, be happy for the person. If a person actually drives in front of you, it's okay, let him drive or her drive. If a person actually does something, maybe gets something about maybe 60-70% of chance of a good thing, encourage them to do it. At least they are not doing any crimes. And we can develop this mudita, because mudita is quite important. The mudita, if it is more or less about, it's not the minus points in life that we have to focus. We have to also focus on the plus points in life. Karuna is for the minus points. Mudita is for the plus points in life. And plus points has to be seen. And that is what the Buddha did as well. In the first week, he actually was truly engaging in the achievement that he had. So we need to understand that mudita is quite an important thing. And if you do mudita, everything is well. We have that resilience factor. We're appreciating each other. We began with this issue that things are not going right or not becoming, not being in the way we like. Yampi chang nalapati dukkhang. Now, what is this yampi ichang? What is this? You are looking for that experience in this every moment we live. We are looking for that experience. And when that is not happening, we are suffering. We choose to suffer. So the Buddha is saying, let it go. Free yourself from there. And when you do that, that means you are able to accept the reality. You are able to see the true nature of someone, something, or even that experience, or that very particular moment. If you are going back to something, if you are going back and looking at something, you are not in the present moment, you are actually trying to entertain that desire. And this is left out, and you are not truly experiencing this very nature of life. And if we are to experience this nature of life, always learn how to develop those four things. Chago, Patinissago, Mutti, Analayo. If you go to the Mangala Sutta, Chittang Yasana Kampati. See, that is the highest blessing. out of all the blessings, when it comes at the end of the sutta, Puttasa lokadammehi chittang yas, a person's mindset that does not get shaken. Now look at the Buddha's life. He had illnesses. And then the Buddha told Ananda one time, my body is like that cart, broken cart, and I feel this pain. But the mind was strong. The mind is stable. That is upekkha. When you develop a state of mindset that does not get shaken, that is upekkha. And you start with Dhammapada, you end up with what paramita? What's the 10th paramita? Upekkha. Dhanang silang canekkamang panya virena panchamang kante sachadithanang mettu pekha, metta upekkha. You end up with metta and upekkha in the end. So it's quite important practice, because metta is that base, and you have that sort of karuna, mudita to help you develop that roof of upekkha, if you want to put it in that case. And we need to actually learn how to develop these skills through, and this is why to develop this set of mindset, I think, we can start from not just physical health, but being aware of what goes to your mind, as I said earlier. As much as we are quite aware of what goes through your mouth, let's be mindful of what goes through your mind. And because mind is an absorbing, or mind is non-physical, you can't do it unless you learn how to do meditation, and you learn how to develop your letting go skills. We let go. We don't stay in the thought that comes to your mind when you meditate. We let go of it. We let go of the emotion. We let go of the memory. We let go of the pain. You let go of the happiness. You let go of. We don't actually, hook into anything. We don't get involved in anything. It will come. Let it come. It's okay. Let it go. You don't be the person. If you actually stick with it, if you get involved, you are making a choice. And that's why I say sometimes you choose to suffer rather than you suffer. How are you choosing? Because you are not letting it go. You are deciding that you are victimizing yourself, or you are actually holding on to something that is not quite perhaps the most important thing in life. But you actually personalize that incident and you victimized yourself. So it then causes so much of these emotions, or the problem with whatever we say, worry, or angry, or jealousy, all the negative emotions that you came up with. Can you see how they are resulting from the day-to-day things that happen in our life? And we have this. So therefore, I haven't got time to go through other things, but I have explained one thing, but perhaps in a wholesome package, because we did touch Nibbana a little bit. Arogya Paramalabha. If you can maintain your physical and mental health, that's good side. That is the greatest gain in a living as a person. Not the next house, or not another house, or not another bank account, or not another. The greatest wealth and asset would be, or profit would be, your good health. No matter how much you have, if you cannot have that good mindset or mentality, you can't. You can have a 5,000 pounds worth bed, but if you can't sleep because your mind is not right, you are worrying of something, or something that had happened, or something, then there is no happiness. So, sorry, I haven't been able to finish off the next 3 lines of the Gatha. It was just first line that I spoke about so far, Arogya Paramalabha only. So maybe another time we can go with other stanzas. So I will end this Dhamma talk. Maybe if you have, maybe if you want, you can raise 1 or 2 questions. Otherwise, I'm happy to finish it all. ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න විනාඩි 5ක් විතර තියෙනවා අවස්ථාව. Okay, there's two things. Either you understood or you didn't understand.
I think, Bhante, you have given us a lot to think about and to practice.
Yeah. So it's just lot of things. How do you spend every moment in life? That's what it is all about in the end, isn't it? How do you actually manage yourself? And Dhamma is to not be read or just listened, it is to be practiced. And these are the ways we can practice so that actually we are then heading towards a very good advanced practice. This is the practice. It's not like spending, dedicating 1 day or 2 days or 3 months, it's about living in the Dhamma. And this is how we live, day-to-day things that we actually manage to work with. Sorry, I don't know whether I was cutting off a question.
No, I was going to offer you merits because I think it was very, very good. I think it will help my practice a lot of what you have taught today, spoke about today.
It's very practical advice we got from Bhante.
Okay. So that was all made possible by Colvin Jai Singh and Sumedha Jai Singh. So all merit goes to the family and may you all as participants, not just the sponsors and not just the Venerable and monks at the Letchworth Buddhist Community Center, Most Venerable Vimalanayaka Thero, Most Venerable Kusala Thero. So may you all be blessed with good health. May you all make use of that good health to practice the Dhamma more and commit yourself and to delve yourself into the spiritual practice. And that is the sole purpose and intention of Mr. and Mrs. Jai Singh, making this Dhamma available for you to practically learn something and perhaps again put into practice. So may all merit accumulated be conducive for your good health, happiness, success, and may all your righteous aspirations be fulfilled. May the merit also be conducive for anyone who may have passed away in our families recently or far past. May they all receive our blessings. May they receive our merit. May they rejoice in this punya karma and make their sansaric life happy. And eventually may they and us achieve or attain the blissful state of Nibbana through our righteous aspirated path. Sadhu,
Sadhu.
Abhivadana silis nichang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atho nibbana sampatti iminate samicchatu. Sadhu.
Teruvan Saranai Swaminathan, sir.
Everyone
Thiruvan Saranai Swaminathan.
අපි රැස් කරගත්ත පින් ඔබ වහන්සේට අනුමෝදන් වේවා. සාදු සාදු සාදු.
අවසරයි නායක හඳුනන්නේ.
වහන්සේගේ ධර්මානුශාසනාව ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් අපේ පින්වතුන් දහන්නට ලැබුණා. කාලයකට පස්සේ ධර්ම කෙනෙකු පොරොන්දු වුණා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න මොමුන් අවවාද ටිකක් ලැබුණා. ඒ විදිහට ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරගෙන යාළුවෝ කියලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉගෙන ගත්තොත් තම තමන්ට තමන්ගේ ජීවිතේ මම ඒ සංසාරේ යම් දිනක කරගන්න ආදාන වාස්තේ ගෝල්ටේ වාස්තේ විද්‍යාව පිළිබඳව ශ්‍රී විනාට මේ ධර්මානුශාසනාවක් ලැබීමෙන් ඔබේ අනාගත ජීවිතයේ සාර්ථක වෙනවා. තම තමන් ශාස්ත්‍රීය සේවාවන් අපරාධීන්ට අපිට දෙවියන් හරි Maybe has to be some perspective, not to talk.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.